everybody, and welcome to episode 93 of Own the Road with AutoTrader, where we make car stuff simple for Canadians. My name is Jodi Lai, and I'm the editor-in-chief of AutoTrader.
And I'm Sébastien Bell. I'm AutoTrader's associate editor, and I'm back for my fourth episode in a row.
Four in a row. You're a real pro by now.
Dan is still missing in action. If you see him, please give us a call. We miss him.
I'm going to put him on a milk carton soon. Missing. Have you seen him?
No, we're just kidding. He's in Japan for the auto show, and he'll be back soon.
Yep, he's there with Lexus, and they're going to be doing some interesting stuff and reveals at the Tokyo Mobility Show, I believe.
Yeah, is that what it's called now?
I think so.
Everything's a mobility show now.
Because nobody wants to drive. They just want to be mobile.
I mean, it's a big deal. Mobility really, it matters.
I mean, I think it was a big shift when a lot of automakers started caring more about autonomous driving and stuff like that, and other mobility solutions.
And infotainment, when that became a big deal, when every car tried to become a smartphone on wheels.
Yeah.
Which we are against. I think that cars should have buttons.
I want real buttons, no screens, clickety-clackety, switchgear.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
But today we're talking about cars that most certainly won't have clickety-clackety buttons and will be more screen-based.
Yeah, so today we are going to be talking about vehicles to look forward to in 2026. So a lot of these vehicles, some of them have been unveiled and we've kind of been able to, learn about their specs and stuff like that, but we haven't driven them yet.
Yeah.
Other vehicles haven't been unveiled, and they're very big deal models. So we're very excited to see what they're going to be like when they're unveiled next year. So this list will be kind of a mix of the two. So just stuff to get excited about next year.
And it's going to be a big year. There are a couple of really heart of the market models that have really big generational shifts coming up. And it's going to be a big deal for the automotive sector. And with 2025 being such a
very
what's going on year, I think that 2026 is probably going to be another year like that. Are we ever going to have years that aren't like that anymore? Who knows?
Maybe in 3 years or so, but that's just a hunch.
I hope you're right. But yes, so there are a bunch of models that are a big deal coming, and it's going to be a very exciting year for the automotive sector. And despite us being curmudgeonly at the top of the episode, I do think that there are a lot of really new, really exciting things going on and coming up this year in the automotive world.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like we're getting pretty close to a major shift, especially for EVs. I think we're 2-3 years away from some really interesting technology coming out for EVs that'll kind of change the whole game for that industry.
Yeah.
We're experiencing, a bit of a pullback for EVs, which we've discussed in previous episodes. But the future is bright. So
the future is bright.
Yes.
And I do think that we are on the verge of generation 1.5 for EVs. Whereas I think that the Mercedes EQEs and the Mustang Mach-E's, the sort of first generation of EV first platforms that major automakers really went all in on is done. Mm-hmm. And now we have the fruit of the investment that they made at that time, which is improving things incrementally a little bit.
Exactly.
So it's going to be an interesting year for a lot of automakers are going to be introducing something a little bit better this year, and it's going to be even better. And our first car that we're going to talk about, the BMW 3 Series, that's another example. They're coming out with their Neue Klasse platform, which is going to be a really big deal for them and is going to be a reasonably large improvement over even things that are as recent as the i4.
Yeah, so the BMW 3 Series is just a really important model in the BMW universe because it goes back so far and because it is so iconic for them. They basically created the class of compact luxury sedans, right? Totally. So it's very important for them. We haven't seen it yet, but we have seen the BMW iX3,
yes,
which is the first BMW vehicle to debut with this kind of new class design language, which is actually a throwback that is inspired by the BMWs in the 60s and early 70s.
Which were, again, a really big deal for BMW.
And they looked cool AF back then. Those BMWs look so good. Even by today's standard, they look so sick.
Absolutely.
And so I'm very excited to see how this new design language will translate into the new 3 Series sedan.
Mhm.
But judging by the iX3, I have a few reservations because I have not seen it in person. I've only seen pictures of it.
Which matters. We know this as well as anybody else, that when you see something in real life, it can look a lot better than it does in photos.
Completely different.
Yeah.
So I'm, reserving a little bit of optimism for this because I
Right.
feel like it might translate better into a sedan body style than in an SUV.
Which I think is really interesting. I think BMW has been guilty of this in recent years of creating a design language for SUVs and then applying it to sedans
Blech.
that end up looking kind of like weird.
So BMW design lately has not been doing it for me. I think right now they currently have a lot of ugly vehicles. I'm just going to say it.
Yeah.
But some of them are really nice.
Totally. Absolutely.
Some of them where they've pared down that giant grille, they look really good, right?
Absolutely.
And so I'm hoping that they've been able to tweak from the iX3 and make the new 3 Series sedan a little bit less weird, we'll say.
Absolutely. And based on the Neue Klasse concept car that came up, it's certainly going to look interesting. It's certainly going to be way different than what is on the road now. So maybe it will translate well into a sedan body style.
Yeah.
Which would be nice to see because BMW's sedans, as we discussed a few episodes ago, have been doing very well for them. They're still a more or less 50-50 split between
That's
SUVs
surprising.
and sedans. And it has been working very well for them. So maybe they will be willing to invest more time and effort into this. But yes, as we said, the 3 Series and specifically the i3 will be on a new platform. And the new platform is apparently 20% more energy dense than its previous platforms, which will translate into 30% more range, which to give you some perspective, the i4 already offers over 500 kilometers of range, 514 or something like that. So, which is great. That's amazing.
And I will say that when I drove the i4, it consistently outperformed those estimates.
Yes.
So in reality, you're getting closer to 600 on the existing battery.
And that's what I was talking about earlier. The i4 still feels really fresh. It still feels really modern. It has 514 kilometers of range, which I know you can theoretically get vehicles with more. And maybe that's a problem for BMW, but 514 is more than enough for everyday tasks. And now they're going to be going up into the mid 600 kilometer range if the estimates are accurate.
And the new one will probably outperform those numbers as well.
Yeah.
And what I liked the most about the i4 is that it just looks and feels and drives like a conventional BMW.
Yeah.
Except for engine noise and whatever. But the rest of it is exactly the same. And I really appreciated that.
Absolutely. But the 3 Series won't be all electric. They with the i4 and the i5, they have a split powertrain, the strategy, which means that it will also be available with internal combustion engines in it, which we have to learn more about. But I mean, BMW's good at this stuff. They're going to do a good
for
job.
sure. So there's going to be a gas model, an M3 model, an EV version. So I'm excited. I really want to see what BMW does with this. So fingers crossed that they give us something good.
Yeah. And I think it'll be really exciting. So let's go. And I think it does mean the death of the really tall grille, hopefully.
Yes. Let's return to Shark Nose, please.
Yeah, totally. Next is a car that you have seen in person.
Yes. So the next car on our list that I'm pretty excited for is the new Honda Prelude.
Yes.
So we've seen it. I've had my hands on it, but I have not driven it yet.
No.
And this is a really interesting vehicle for me because, it's a revival of the Prelude name, which is a very important name for Honda.
Absolutely.
I remember the Prelude in the 90s and 2000s when I was growing up was kind of one of the first vehicles I thought was really cool and sleek, and I just loved, and even today, those designs hold up really, really well.
Totally. Yeah, I've seen a couple on the road lately, and I'm just yeah, sick.
Yeah, and I get really excited to see them.
Totally. That is one of my favorite car questions for car people, by the way, is what was the first car that you saw when you were 5 and you were sick as hell, let's go.
Yeah. I think the Prelude I didn't get into 911s and Porsches until a little bit later. But I started with a Honda Prelude. My dad used to work, at a Honda dealership for a really long time. So it was a lot of my childhood was very Honda centric.
That's so cool. But yes, the new Prelude is a little bit different.
It's very different from the Prelude that we've seen in the past.
Yes.
So what it does, so it combines the powertrain elements from the Honda Civic Hybrid with some of the hardware and like performance goodies from the Honda Civic Type R.
Which is an interesting strategy, which I do think is like a good strategy on paper, or maybe not on paper. I think it's a good strategy on the road. I think that once people get it on the road, a car with too much chassis and not enough power is going to feel so grippy. It's going to feel so tight. Honda's like their sort of driving dynamics team is so good at what they do. They make some of the most fun to drive normal cars on the road right now. So like I'm really excited to see what it's like to actually be in the Prelude. But 200 horsepower, just like the unmodified Civic Hybrid powertrain is a little bit of a womp womp.
Yeah, so I mean, I've driven both the Civic Hybrid and the Civic Type R, and they're so different. You can't even compare the two. So to put both of them into one car is kind of like breaking my brain a little bit. So it's going to be front wheel drive. Yeah. Like you said, 200 horsepower, 232 pound-feet of torque.
Yeah.
But it gets like Brembo brakes, adaptive dampers, the front suspension from the Type R, the same wider front and rear tracks as the Type R.
Yeah.
And so, like you said, Honda's driving dynamics people are like pretty genius at this. So I'm very curious to see how it translates. My only issue with this is that this is a 2+2.
Yes.
And like I've sat in it and even I couldn't sit in the rear seat.
Right.
So that leads me to question, like, who is this for?
Right. And is it for the same people who are going to be buying Toyota BRZ or Toyota GR86? Did I say Toyota BRZ? I meant Subaru. Anyway,
One of them, anyway.
So is it going to be for the same people? And are they going to go for a front-wheel drive car when they could have a rear-wheel drive car with a similar-ish amount of power?
So Honda is very adamant that this new Prelude is not a sports car. They're calling it a grand touring vehicle that is tuned more towards comfort than the Type R is, and more for performance than the Honda Civic Hybrid is.
Yeah.
And one of the interesting things that like Honda's making a really big deal about this is the transmission.
Yes.
And so it's called Honda S Plus Shift.
Right.
They themselves referred to it as a CVT or a continuously variable transmission. And then in the same paragraph, they said, well, it doesn't really have a transmission at all.
Yeah, that is confusing with the best of them.
So how they explain this to me is that instead of like belts and pulleys like a CVT would use, it uses like a planetary gear set that allows the gas engine and the electric motors to work together to send power to the front wheels more directly.
Okay.
So it'll deliver power in a way that's very similar to an EV, where it's like instant.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And for this type of vehicle, I think like that's a brilliant decision because it will make it feel more engaging. You won't get that weird like rubber band feeling that you get with some CVTs. And this transmission is supposed to like mimic traditional shifting sensations.
Right.
I don't know what that's going to feel like.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's like people are asking for that.
We'll see. Yeah.
But I'm interested because I don't know if we've had a vehicle like this before.
No, totally. And I do think that like, although I was complaining about it only having 200 horsepower, like the Civic Hybrid powertrain is great. It is an amazing powertrain. It feels really direct and it feels really fast. And there's like, it's so smooth. You never get that sense. Sometimes in a Toyota hybrid, you get the sense that like, oh, the engine just kicked in.
Yeah.
In the Civic, it's just like, I am going faster and I don't know what part of the powertrain is doing that. So like, I'm a big fan of the Civic Hybrid. So like, obviously, I think the Prelude is going to be pretty good. But yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how it all comes together because there are so many like parts coming into it from all over the place that it like maybe it'll be crazy alchemy and it'll really work and it'll just be like, oh my God, it's like you got to get this one car, it's the greatest. Or maybe it'll be too many things happening at once and nobody will buy it. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, what's the market like for a front wheel drive coupe? I just feel like that's too. You're speaking to two different crowds here, right?
Totally. And yeah, as you said, the 2+2 thing is tough. It's a hard sell. And like, yeah, I don't have kids and I like, my partner and I go most places together, but like, you're telling me that I couldn't bring a friend along if I wanted to? Like,
Yeah.
If I had one of those, who knows? No, I'm kidding. But yeah, it is kind of tough to just be like, oh, you get the seat where you have to like
Yeah.
contort yourself into.
So I'm excited to see how it all comes together. I really want to drive it.
Yes.
We don't know pricing yet, but it will be available in like one single fully loaded trim.
Yeah.
So you're not going to have a lot of options outside of like wheels and paint colors.
I guess that makes sense. If you're,
Because it seems so niche and specific. So like just give it to them, right?
and if it's like a Grand Tour, like you're not going to get the bargain basement Grand Tour. You want the good one.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully that works out because it would be cool to see a really, and like from a design point of view, although it doesn't look like the old Prelude, I think it looks pretty good. And did it look that good in person?
Yeah, I think in person it looked really nice. Like
Yeah.
it was nice and small, which I liked.
Yes.
The proportions were correct.
Okay.
But I'm just most curious to drive it.
Yeah.
Because I love like kind of performance leaning vehicles, but I also love hybrids. Like I love the efficiency. So like maybe it will fulfill that need for someone like me who doesn't need something that's like a sports car, you know? So we'll see.
Yeah, totally.
But Honda, it's going to be a pretty big year for Honda next year. So they're also we haven't seen this vehicle yet, but they're supposed to be coming out with a vehicle based on their first ever in-house built EV platform.
Yes, because they have the Prologue right now, but the Prologue and the ZDX, but it's dead now. The Prologue was actually based on a GM platform, so that was just to get an EV out the door, but they were designing their own.
Yeah, and so this is kind of like the first in-house EV that they're going to come out with. It is going to be part of, it's called the Zero series. It hasn't been named yet. But they're promising that it will be under $30,000 US. So that's about like 42,000 Canadian dollars EV.
That's pretty good.
Which is really good.
Yeah.
For EVs,
Totally.
I think that's lower than almost anything else out there right now. You might have to fact check me on that. But we need more affordable EVs, right?
Yeah,
and so any vehicle that's coming out, any EV that's coming out in like the early 40s, to me is good news.
That's, totally great news. And I do think that affordability is the big problem. And like, especially with all of the incentives being in flux, it makes like having an EV, having the ability to have EVs that are actually trending closer to affordable these days is a huge deal. And I think that like, if the incentives have proven anything, is that there is an appetite for EVs. It's just getting the price right. So hopefully this generation 1.5 will do that. We'll hit the mark.
Yeah, and I mean, just on this note, and this isn't included in the notes, but I recently drove the Kia EV5.
Yes.
Which is a, subcompact, compact size, fully EV crossover from Kia.
Totally.
It's coming to Canada and not to the US.
Yeah.
Yeah, stick it. And it's supposed to be in that price range too.
Right.
They were we haven't heard pricing yet, but they were promising that it will be an affordable EV.
Yeah.
And when I drove it, it was really, really good.
And Kia does tend to deliver on that. They tend to be pretty...
I hope so.
Yeah.
And
their EVs have been awesome so far. Yeah.
They have been really great. And so you all know that we love like the Kia EV9, which is their 3-row EV family crossover.
Totally.
This EV5 takes like everything we like about that in just like a smaller, more affordable package.
Yeah.
So I've driven it. I loved it. And so I think next year will be a really big year for more affordable EVs.
Which is really exciting.
Which we need.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. We need affordable vehicles. Just, that's... No, you don't need to add on the EV part. But it is really cool that there are a lot of EVs coming out that are going to be somewhat more affordable.
Yeah, because that was one of the biggest barriers to people getting EVs in the first place, is that they were just too expensive.
Yeah,
okay?
totally.
So let's make cheaper ones. And I think we're at the point now where like the manufacturing of EVs has become the scale has been a lot more easy to digest for manufacturers.
Totally.
And so like now we're seeing the benefits of that.
We're seeing a lot. Yeah, yes.
Other big news, so the 2026 Toyota RAV4
Huge deal.
A massive deal for us. It's built in Canada, except for the plug-in hybrid version, which is still built in Japan.
Right. But they will be assembling batteries in Canada, which is cool for the hybrid version.
Yeah, and this is a really big deal for us because they're built locally. So it's a brand new 6th generation model.
Yeah.
Your favorite road test editor, Dan Alika, has already driven one.
Yeah.
And he said it was really, really good.
Right. And it uses a lot of familiar powertrain from the Camry hybrid. It's all hybrid now.
Yep.
And it uses a lot of familiar parts. And so, like, I think anybody who's been in a Toyota in the last 5 years will know what they're getting into.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably a good thing. That feels like that's what people want. They want reliability, they want familiarity, and it feels like they're really hitting on that.
Yeah, and so basically they didn't do anything like radically different for this RAV4 because it's so important to the brand. They can't mess it up, right?
Oh, yeah.
So it's not going to be, you know, a dramatic change, but it's more of what you like. So it's more efficient than the one that came before it.
Mhm.
Great news.
Mhm.
It's a bit more stylish. Also great news.
Interesting.
You don't like it?
I think that this is the 6th generation. now.
Yeah.
I think that the 5th generation was a really good design. I think that the 6th generation, I think that the 2026, I think is a little bit uglier.
A little bit samey, I think, maybe to the rest of the lineup.
Yeah, I think it's, and exactly. I do think that it's trying to look rugged, like one of its bigger brothers.
That's just a big trend that's going on right now. Everyone's doing it.
Everybody's doing it. All the cool kids are doing it. But I think that the RAV4 looks like a poser to me.
I mean, but you know that they will sell every single one of them.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That they make.
Absolutely, and I think again, like with the powertrain, like with everything else, I do think that with the design, they shouldn't go too intense with it because like it has to appeal to a wide swath of the population.
Yeah, so they couldn't do anything too crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then so the next on our list is the Mazda CX-5. So we saw a new 3rd generation version of this. My biggest complaint about the CX-5 up until now, and a big reason why I just like simply could not recommend it to a lot of people, was because their infotainment system was terrible.
Yeah.
They used this little knob controller and it was just awful. And so I'm really happy to see that with this new generation, it has a bigger touchscreen, which finally addresses that major sticking point that I've always had with it. It runs on a new like Google built-in infotainment software, which means, you know, Google Maps is going to be the native navigation system, which is going to do wonders for usability and user friendliness.
Totally.
It's bigger inside, which addresses one of our other complaints with the CX-5 is that it wasn't as roomy as its competitors.
Totally.
It's more family friendly. It's practical. There's also a new hybrid version coming up that is based on the RAV4 that we all know and love.
So it's gonna be very good. That's a really good use of resources of like pulling from Toyota's like powertrains, especially for a boring car. I know that Mazda kind of thinks of itself as like a low-key sporty brand. I think it's like where the Prelude wants to be, but especially for the CX-5, who cares? Just like make it reliable, make it efficient. And like I think that the Mazda design team has been knocking it out of the park for the last decade maybe.
Their stuff looks great.
So it's exciting that there is that they're going to be introducing a new infotainment system that will like make it more usable for everybody, which I do think like, again, another broad theme in the industry for 2026 is that we're getting into more of a infotainment singularity. Like we're getting more alignment on
more standardization.
If you think about like the 2010s, everybody was making like there were trackpads
and they were all awful.
Wheels. Yeah, not everybody had agreed on the touchscreen. And like from Mazda's perspective, they always argued that it was less safe to use a touchscreen, which I agree with. And their argument for having the screen be so far away was that it was like closer to the road. So you don't have to pull your eyes down off the road to see it, which again, another argument that makes a lot of sense to me. But I agree with you that in practice, it was just hard. It was just hard. And it made a lot of Mazdas feel out of date. You know?
Well, it was just also like I'm not against a rotary controller because it is nice to be able to use that when you're driving, because sometimes it's like I find touchscreens very distracting, especially if I'm driving. You can't pay attention to the road and operate a touchscreen at the same time.
Absolutely.
But you can pay attention to the road and use a knob to find what you're looking for.
Yeah.
But theirs was really annoying because, you know, to type in an address, it would be like T9 texting. Like you'd have to scroll, press, scroll, press, scroll, press.
And again, that's another situation where you aren't really solving the problem of having to look down at the screen because like you just have to like, I'm not going to count the like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 T, you know, it's just like you have to be looking at the screen.
And their knob it operated counterclockwise for some reason.
Whoa,
so it was like, it was opposite of what you thought it should be. So it just never worked, period.
Okay.
So I'm really excited to get into this new one because they addressed all of my complaints with it. So I'm very excited.
Yeah. Totally.
The next vehicle on our list is the revived Toyota CHR.
Which I think is really fun because I
Mhm.
really liked the former CHR.
I also really liked it.
I thought it looked so radical.
And it was also so fun to drive. Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't fast,
No.
but you could drive that thing like a go-kart, and it was actually so fun. And you wouldn't be scared because it's not going to kill you because it's slow.
It's like,
But it drove really nicely.
Yeah, I really liked the old CHR. And I think that the new one, although I think that the design is toned down somewhat, I think it looks pretty cool. It looks pretty nifty.
I think it looks very cool. So
Yeah.
it's a quirky, small crossover. It's returning as a full EV, which
Yep.
is kind of cool.
That's cool.
And that means it's another entry into that like affordable EV segment.
Which this one is really bonkers. I don't understand. So it's smaller than the BZ, which
Yes.
is formerly the BZ4X, which has now been rebranded and given a normal amount of range or an adequate amount of range.
Mhm.
But the CHR is going to get over 500 kilometers of range, allegedly.
Yeah, because it has the same platform as that BZ, but it's smaller.
Yeah.
Which means it's lighter, which
So it's
means
gonna-
you'll get more out of it.
So it's going to be cheaper. It's going to go farther. And like, sure, the trunk is going to be smaller, but it's still going to be able to fit 5 people.
Totally.
Like the CHR is low-key banger.
Very
Like,
compelling to me.
Yeah, extremely compelling.
And it'll be available front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive.
Yeah.
It will come with like a Tesla-style NACS port, so you should be able to use like certain Tesla superchargers.
Yeah, as we've discovered. But yeah, more access to more charging stations is great.
And I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, I think this is going to be really cool. And is it the Trail Seeker is going to be larger? The Subaru is basically copy pasting Toyota EVs.
Yes.
So the BZ is going to be
The Solterra.
the Solterra.
Yeah.
And the CHR is going to be
Trail Seeker.
The Trail Seeker.
Yeah, so that's another one not on this list that's also coming is the Subaru Trail Seeker.
Yeah, but it's going to be more or less the same as the CHR.
Yeah, more or less
and
the same
like
thing.
when you see them side by side, they really do look very
Yeah.
similar. But I think that again, like with the Mazda CX-5 thing, I think it makes a lot of sense for Subaru to get some like high volume, or maybe they won't be high volume, but like some vehicles into some high volume segments
Mhm.
for a more affordable, price.
Totally. Yeah, it makes total sense. The Mitsubishi Outlander.
Is that thing still alive?
So it is still alive, and I'm not sure why, but this Mitsubishi Outlander is so underrated. Like in our
Yes.
circle of like automotive journalists, I don't know why, but this car does not get the love that it deserves.
Totally. And I was joking about it still being around, but the gas version just got an update.
And the PHEV version was updated like a few years ago, and it's really good.
Yeah. It's what's keeping them afloat, I presume.
Basically, yeah. And so there's going to be a new full EV version of the Outlander coming soon, as well as like a more off-road focused model coming for 2026,
That's fun.
which is cool because, it's like the trail sport Hondas and stuff where it's not like going to be a Moab crunching truck, but it will, maybe get knobbier tires, maybe get some like interesting stuff. We'll see.
It'll look nifty, and that's like something.
But it makes a lot of sense to me because Mitsubishi has so much experience doing like real off-roading SUVs.
Totally.
So I'm hoping that they'll pull from that and give us something that's like actually cool.
Absolutely. Their experience at the Dakar Rally and all kinds of like truly difficult off-roading is like, I would really like to see them sort of reach into that history a little bit more.
Yeah. And so the plug-in hybrid version, which I love, it's getting a bigger battery for 2026. That means more range. Right now it gets 61 kilometers, which is great on its own. So the fact that you'll get more than that is even better.
Yeah, totally.
And then the regular Outlander is now hybrid only, which is smart to me because that's like, we're seeing that's another like kind of emerging trend for 2026 is that a lot of vehicles are becoming hybrid only. Toyota is doing it a lot. And that just makes so much sense to me.
Totally.
Because it's just a no-brainer.
Yeah, and the technology is getting really good. The powertrains are becoming really slick, and they're becoming like very first of all, efficient. As they've always been, but they're becoming really good to drive too. So that is really exciting to see. And any vehicle that is a little bit more efficient, that's great.
I'm all for it.
Moving the needle.
Yeah.
Speaking of a little bit more efficient, are you allowed to talk about having driven the Polestar 4 yet?
I think by the time this episode comes out, yes, I will be able to. So I drove the Polestar 4 like in July.
Yeah.
And I haven't been able to talk about it till now.
Yeah.
So the Polestar 4, very interesting vehicle.
Looks really funky.
It has no rear window.
Yeah, which is, I struggle with that one.
It was really weird to me.
Yeah.
And at first, I was reading the materials about it and they were like, oh, we designed it this way for a more immersive rear passenger experience. And I'm like, that sounds like your marketing department went nuts with ChatGPT.
More immersive, I guess, in the sense that you're deeper in a hole. But like,
okay, so and I didn't like the sound of this, but when I drove it and I sat in it, I kind of understood where they were going for. So to have a rear window back there and still keep this very like aerodynamic sloping roof that they have, if they wanted a window, it would really impact the amount of headroom that the people in the back would have.
And Dan would be upset about that.
Right? So they said, okay, screw it. Who says we need a rear window in the first place?
Right.
Because it's not a legal requirement to have a rear window.
Right.
But it is a legal requirement to have a reverse camera.
Yes.
So it has that.
Yeah.
So there's no rear window. You can't, if you look out the back, you can't see anything.
Interesting.
So there is a roof-mounted camera.
Okay.
So you can have a really wide field of vision in your rear view mirror.
Yeah, which is like certainly not a Polestar or an EV exclusive thing. Like Cadillac's been doing the digital mirrors forever.
And typically I don't like using them because I find it very jarring.
It's a little hyper real. It's kind of like a telenovela all of a sudden.
Everything, you just have to get used to the sensation that everything is like slightly closer than you think it is.
Okay.
But honestly, after driving it for like half a day or whatever it was a non-issue. I got used to it so quickly.
Yeah.
And it's actually very helpful. Like when to use the turn signal, the camera like angles itself a little bit more in that direction. So you can have a better view of what might be in your blind spot.
Oh, that's really cool.
In addition to, the side mirrors and stuff like that, blind spot monitoring.
Yes.
So it was really like a non-issue.
Okay, that's cool.
But what's most impressive to me about the Polestar 4 is that it's kind of the first vehicle that I've heard them talk about lifestyle sustainability in a way that like no other automaker is doing.
Okay.
So they're looking at the Polestar 4. They're saying it is like the least, I don't know what the wording was, carbon intensive vehicle they've ever made.
Right. And Polestar's always been really big on wheel to well.
Exactly.
Efficiency.
So they're talking manufacturing.
Yeah.
They're talking materials used are more sustainable.
And is it Polestar who, it's certainly Volvo, I can't remember if Polestar is also doing it, where they're using steel that comes from a mill that is powered with electricity or powered with green electricity instead of whatever.
Yeah.
Because I didn't realize steel is the 6th most carbon intensive industry on Earth.
And so I think this kind of approach is where we need to be moving, where automakers are looking at sustainability like holistically, right? And they're thinking about how easy it will be to recycle the car once it's dead and no one is using it, right?
Totally.
So they're using a lot more like single source materials so that they don't have to spend so much time like separating them when it's time to recycle it.
That
a lot of the interior materials are like recycled, like polyester and plastic bottles and like fishing nets and stuff like that.
Cool.
But it doesn't feel crunchy. Like it doesn't feel nasty. Like it's nice stuff.
Yeah.
So it's proving to me that like, yes, you can have sustainable stuff that isn't ugly.
That is really cool. And Polestar's commitment to that has always sort of stood out to me because like, I know that everybody, when they sell an EV, they're all like, we care about the planet. And then they go and sell a V8 and they're like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
It does seem like Polestar is really trying to. And they've been publishing reports on their greenness, which is very helpful for people who are trying to do, like, for people in the media who are trying to do wheel-to-well estimates and trying to, like, drive home the point that, like, yes, EVs are better for the planet, even if, lithium is hard on the planet.
Yeah.
So, that's really cool. Polestar is doing a great job, and their designs look cool as heck too. Is apart from the fact that it doesn't have a rear window, it looks like a regular kind of attractive vehicle.
Yeah, and the thing with Polestar is that like they're a niche brand anyway, so like they really have no pressure to appeal to the mainstream in a way that a lot of other brands like Toyota does with its RAV4.
Totally.
Like they can do something completely crazy because that brand caters to like early adopter type people, tech heavy people who want more software tech experience and they care about a car and that's fine for them. They seem to be thriving doing it this way.
Yeah.
It's got a good amount of range, like almost 500, I think 450 and almost 500 for their two different models.
Yeah.
Which is great. So they should be arriving late this year, early next year.
Totally.
And I think pricing-wise, I think we know pricing, and it's affordable. Like, it's not a crazy price.
Oh, really? Which is
Yeah.
surprising because Polestar is pretty premium.
Yeah, so this kind of model is in the middle right
Okay.
now of their lineup.
range, yeah.
So it's not crazy for what they're asking for.
That's amazing.
What's some other interesting stuff? So like, we can just list them off because we're running out of time.
Yeah.
But like,
The Alfa Romeo Stelvio is coming out soon, or the next generation of
Yep.
it, which is interesting. Anyway, BMW is also going to be doing a hybrid sports car, which is exciting.
yeah, like a replacement for the i8. Remember the i8, which was very cool back then.
I always thought the i8 was really cool, and I feel like you either loved the i8 or you hated it. I know a lot of people were like, it looks like a spaceship, and I was like, it looks like a spaceship.
I think it was ahead of its time.
Certainly.
And the design, I think, had some cool elements, but it wasn't like 100% flawlessly executed.
Certainly.
But in concept, I really liked it.
Yeah.
There's going to be a new Acura RSX.
Yes, an all-electric
Yep,
RSX.
all-electric crossover.
Yeah, crossover, which I think people are going to be okay with it, but a lot of people in the office seem to think that old school RSX and Integra fans are going to be upset about it.
I don't really care too much about the naming conventions.
Well, they have the Integra, like, as a sedan.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, I care less about the RSX name than I care
And the
about the Integra
RSX
name.
nameplate was used for such a short amount of time anyway.
Yeah, it
so
wasn't
it's
for
like,
very
I don't think people are going to be that caught up on that.
Although, car nerds they get caught up about really small stuff, so... Sorry.
Then pop off at the Prelude. The Prelude was around for longer.
Yeah, fair enough.
Genesis GV90 should be unveiled sometime next year. So this is their new 3-row EV crossover.
Yeah. Range topping should be exciting. Genesis design has been sick.
Yes, and this is kind of like the next generation of their design. So
Totally.
I'm really excited to see what that's going to be like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we know the platform is good, right?
Yes.
This is the same platform as the Hyundai Ioniq 9, the Kia EV9. So we know the platform is going to hit.
Yes.
So it really comes down to the design.
It's an award-winning platform.
It is. It's
Yes.
great.
Yeah.
Also, Porsche is supposed to be coming out with a 3-row
With
SUV.
with its own big 3-row SUV.
Yep.
Which was supposed to be electric first.
And now it will not be, apparently.
Well, it will be electric eventually, but it's going to be plug-in hybrid and gas-powered first, which is interesting. I'm interested to see what a Porsche giant SUV is like, because the Cayenne sort of, everybody was like, oh, there's no way. And then they sort of convinced people
It's really good.
Yeah, exactly. They sort of convinced people over the years, but now they're going one bigger. I wonder what that's going to be like.
If anyone can do it, Porsche can do it.
Totally. Do you think there's going to be a Lamborghini version of the
Oh,
Porsche?
God. I don't care about Lamborghini. Honestly, I don't think they would do that, because who is that for?
Cardi B. I think.
I mean, she does have a lot of kids.
Was she the?
She got 4 kids or something.
Who was it? Was it she the one who got the first Urus? Anyway, somebody was somebody like that was one of the people to get the first Uruses.
I mean, that's cool though.
Yeah.
But she does have a lot of kids now, so maybe she does need a 3-row exotic. Maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway, we don't have an Ask an Expert today, but if you would like to ask us questions, you can email us at expert@trader.ca. But that kind of wraps up this episode. Lots to look forward to in 2026.
It's gonna be a big year.
It's going to be a great year.
Well,
We'll see. The jury's out on that, but I'm optimistic. Thank you so much for joining us. Drive safe, and we'll see you next time.